Welcome to Windward TV. I'm your host, Kevin Schilter, and today we have Jamie from Cutting Edge Concepts on the show. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you.
So in today's episode, we're going to learn about how a custom design website might be able to lift your business. And Jamie's got a tip for us at the end of the episode to see whether it makes sense by looking at some of the numbers inside just how your website's performing today. So Jamie, tell us a little bit about first impressions of a website.
Well, it's a University of Ontario who did a study on this very thing. They wanted to find out how quickly somebody would make a decision about a website, whether they liked it or not. And they found that it actually only takes a 20th of a second for somebody to make a decision whether or not they like a website. Now, that doesn't determine whether or not they're going to stay, but that certainly
They're forming an opinion.
They're forming an opinion in a very short period of time. We like to say first impressions are lasting impressions. As we all know, if we don't present ourselves properly when we're going to visit a customer or what have you, then we're putting off the wrong impression, and likely that will carry on through a large part of that relationship. It's the same thing with the website.
So obviously there's custom websites and then there's templates. What's the differences between the two?
I guess the major difference is that with a template, multiple people can have that, and it's not custom engineered towards your business. What a custom web design, or at least a good custom web design is a study in how that business works, what the ethos of that business is, the mission statement, what they want to accomplish, what kind of customers they want to draw in, and then creating a design based exclusively on that information that they glean from that customer. If a website isn't reflective of that particular business, then people may not trust that brand, they may not understand what they do, it may not be representative of their product. And so that's what a good custom design would do, is it really leads the product into your company as opposed to just saying, hey, we sell some stuff.
Jamie, do you have a story to give us an example of what that looks like?
Well, I guess there's a couple of different ways, a couple of different stories, analogies that you could use. My favorite is if you have somebody selling professional equipment, let's say medical supplies, going into the different dental offices throughout your particular town, and they're, a 15-year-old kid is a keener, but he has his hat sideways and his pants kind of halfway down his legs, and unless he's selling underwear, it's not appropriate to selling medical supplies. So if your website looks like a kid with his pants down halfway down his legs, then you're misrepresenting your company grossly without giving your clients the opportunity to see you for what you do, as opposed to just having a presence online. It's no longer enough just to have that presence online.
So Jamie, what does a custom design website mean?
Well, I think at its foundation, not only does it be engineered to reflect the company, so that the initial impression is one of trust and one of confidence and this sort of thing, but we also then have to lead the customer to the call to action. So the navigation has to be clear. The visuals on the website have to be reflective of not only the company, but of where you want them to go in the website. Having a call to action on the homepage is exceptionally important. If you want a phone call, the phone number has to be very prevalent on the homepage. If your primary motivation in the website is to sell a product, have links to your products page. Don't keep it hidden. Okay, let's go shop over here. You're not going to drive sales if people can't find a way to purchase your product. So in order to convert, you really have to almost take the client by the hand and walk them through the process sight unseen, because you're not there. Right? It's a lot easier when somebody walks into your store and they say, I'd like to have an XYZ. Oh, well, that's great. Now, do you have this or do you need this? So you're able to have that conversation and determine the client's needs. But when they're coming to your website, you basically have to instruct them in what their needs are so that they can find their way through your website. With us, we're able to provide what we feel is an exceptional design that's going to be representative of your company, but you may not think so. So we really need to know what your likes and dislikes are. So we have a 4-page questionnaire that we ask users to fill out, or we ask potential clients to fill out. It includes things that we want to know about their business, the background behind their business, what sort of products they sell, and we also ask about what sort of design they like. If they like these colors, they don't like these colors, or the particular website, so we can understand their taste. Otherwise, we're saying, hey, you like this, instead of saying, what do you like? Because again, it goes back to the collaboration. collaboration. If you don't have that collaboration and that good communication, then we can't produce what the client's looking for, and they're obviously going to feel frustrated with the whole process as well. So that leads into our actual phases. We have 4 different phases that we take clients through, take the website project through, starting with the strategy phase, which includes sitting down and either chatting
Where's
with them
this
over the phone.
going? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you really need? We can't give an accurate quote unless we understand what exactly the project entails. Because every website's different. People often ask me, how much does a website cost? And I'd like to say, how much does a car cost or a house cost? Is it a small house? Is it a big house? Is it a Lexus? Is it a little Echo or what have you? So when we get all that information, we're able to then move on to the next stage, which is the design stage. And in that design phase, we're in a subjective phase, I like to say, because design is subjective. You may not like the same thing that I like. So in that's where the most amount of collaboration comes, in the strategy phase and in the design phase. We're putting together the ideas and the concepts, and we're doing it in a collaborative way. Once we get through that phase and everything's fully approved, we never move on to the next phase until we have full approval on that phase that we're in, because the next phase of success is contingent on solidifying the phase before. So we can't start the design without the strategy, we can't start the programming without the design, and of course we can't finish the programming unless we understand the whole process throughout.
That's a healthy process to have in place. Otherwise, you're potentially creating something that the customer doesn't want to pay for.
Well, that's absolutely right. And we want, at the end of the process, for the customer to feel like they've not only had an easy time of it, where they don't have to become web designers, which a lot of small sort of just starting out people may do. They may say, okay, well, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I've heard horror stories of people basically forced into labor for their own website, whereas there are certain things that we can't come up with, like content. We don't understand the client's business the same way that they would. So we want to make sure that we stick within our strengths and they stick within theirs, but our strengths we do, and we don't make the client do.
So from a parting tip perspective, what should a customer be doing to decide whether a custom design solution is going to help their business or not?
Well, I think an effective way to approach that is, if you don't already have Google Analytics installed, install them on your website. As soon as you've got it, let the analytics run for a few weeks so that you can get some good metrics. Go and look at it. The first page when you log in is going to show you your bounce rate. If your bounce rate is really high, I like to say 50, 60% or higher is high. The higher your bounce rate, the shorter amount of time.
What does that mean, bounce rate?
Bounce rate is when a customer comes to your site and they spend very little time, seconds essentially, and then they leave your site again. So they're coming to your site and they're bouncing back off of your website. And so to be able to look at that number and see, okay, I've got a high bounce rate, something's not right. That means that the first impression that a client gets is likely not what they're expecting or what they're wanting. Now, it could be something as simple as they mistyped or clicked on the wrong thing and they went to your website, but they were looking for widget A, not widget B, and so they left. Or it could be something as significant as your design does not attract them to want to go through the rest of the process to convert to a purchasing customer.
So 60% or more, should they be thinking about a custom design solution, or when to engage?
I think if you've got a high bounce rate of 60% or more, you should definitely be seeking the services of a professional.
Okay.
You want to make sure that, whether it be the design or whether it be something else, there are a multitude of factors that can go into that. Primarily, we like to look at design when it's a high bounce rate, because that usually indicates that initial glance is not what they're wanting. But again, there could be other things. Navigation could be broken or what have you.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Jamie.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And if you're thinking about custom web design, ultimately it's to improve website conversion and really ultimately drive sales inside your business. So remember, at Windward Software, we help you run your business instead of just reporting on it.